man himself, Kevin Feige, just dropped a ton of news regarding his future with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what's going to happen after Secret Wars, what kind of tone can we expect from Punisher and Spider-Man Brand New Day, will we ever see Miles in live action in the MCU, and what the hell is going on with Blade? We'll be discussing that and much more. First thing I want to talk about is, since this is the week of Fantastic Four, we got an update in regards to their role in the next Avengers film. As you all can see, the Fantastic Four cast is halfway through filming Avengers Doomsday. As it says, they've already shot half of their next appearances in the next Avengers film. Nothing too earth-shattering here, but I am excited to see the Fantastic Four and see how it ties into the next Avenger film, and I'm very curious to know if Doomsday will pop up in the appearance and if we'll see Reed Richards leading the Avengers. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and that's Kevin Feige dropping some bombs to THR and Variety about the state of the MCU, his contract, budget cuts, Robert Downey Jr., and much more. Now I think we've all known this for a while, even Bob Iger spoke about this last year, but this is the first time we're hearing Kevin Feige say this. He admits that Marvel's main focus after Endgame is more so about quantity over quality. As Kevin Feige is quoted as saying that we had over 100 hours of stories in half the time. That was just too much. I think it led to people to say that it used to be fun, but now I have to know everything about all of these different projects. The first step in admitting your failure is the acceptance of you did too much, and I think we can all agree to that, especially with Disney Plus. So I'm glad that Bob Iger and Kevin Feige admit that they were just focused on throw everything at the wall, let's see what sticks, but it seems like they're now getting back on path to let's focus on quality over quantity. Now the next big thing he talked about was coming from an article from Deadline where Kevin Feige says that after Avengers Secret Wars, they are planning to reset the singular timelines and reboot the MCU. He also mentions that the MCU has a 7-year plan that's going to go into 2032. And I think we all kind of knew that the MCU is going to have like a soft reboot after Secret Wars, but this is the first time, at least that I know, that Kevin Feige has admitted this. So we can anticipate the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, all the characters being on one universe, being on one singular timeline, which is exciting, but also makes me nervous because that means that films that took maybe 2 to 3 years to make, we're going to have to maybe wait even longer to see these characters again. But I will say the best news about this article here is they have a plan. It's going into 7 years, which actually leads into the next part of this article. This is a big piece of news. This comes from THR, where Kevin Feige says that he has about 2 years left on his Marvel contract. So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Will Kevin Feige put everything he has in him in these last 2 years and he may retire or may go on to Star Wars? Or is it like a senior in high school knowing they have like 2 weeks left that they just kind of give up and don't give a damn about anything? Honestly, I think that Kevin Feige is going to give it his all. He's been waiting for this day to get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in his hand. So I think he's going to really give the most creative endeavors to these projects. Also, I think Disney is going to just give him a blank paycheck and say, whatever number you want, we're going to make it happen. We want you to stay. But the question is, will he stay in 2 years? We'll have to find out. Now, bouncing back over to the THR article where Kevin Feige confirmed that he already started having conversations with RDJ about replacing Kang as the multiverse saga's big bad before Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium was even released. I call BS on this because if you all remember when this film was releasing, they were hyping this movie up. They were excited for Kang. Obviously, he was in low-key. Plans to have him in the animated stuff, some other projects. So I think Kevin Feige is just saving face and saying, oh yeah, we already had RDJ in plan way before, you know, Kang and everything happened with Jonathan Majors. I call BS on this, but what do you all think? Is he telling the truth? Now, sticking with Kevin Feige and what he had to say to THR, he confirms that Jon Bernthal will return as the Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, Kevin Feige also confirmed that the Punisher will have a different tone in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, Jon Bernthal being part of Spider-Man was confirmed a couple weeks ago, but I wonder if they're going to announce what the other rumor is, which is the Hulk is going to be involved, and we're going to see Spider-Man, Punisher trying to take down Savage Hulk. To share my thoughts about the tonal shift that we'll see with the Punisher, I think that was anticipated because I don't think we expect to see Frank Castle popping fools and blood and throwing F-bombs around in a Spider-Man film. So in my eyes, I think they're going to use Frank Castle very similarly to how they used Bucky in Winter Soldier, where of course he wasn't talking a lot, but he was pretty violent. He was killing fools left and right. I anticipate this film to really kind of toe that line on PG-13. I don't anticipate a bunch of blood, a bunch of F-bombs, but we will see Frank being Frank, but just a little toned down. Kevin Feige also shared that we can expect to see Spider-Man Brand New Day to be a street-level story. Him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of better terms, street-level crime as opposed to world-ending events. Fans like myself have been begging for Spider-Man to finally get a solo outing, finally get a street-level story, and it looks like we're getting that. This is really exciting. Now, sticking with Variety and sticking with Spider-Man, Kevin Feige says that they are not allowed to bring in Miles Morales in the MCU yet. We've been told to stay away. So if you all click on the article in Variety, he talks about a little bit more in depth that he's been told that they can't use Miles until the animated Into the Spider-Verse is over, and then we might see him in live action, maybe post Secret Wars. And last but not least, Kevin Feige talked about Blade. So Feige said that there have been 4 versions of Blade, and they have finally decided on a take set in modern day. We didn't just want to put a leather outfit on him and have him start killing vampires, as he said in a Deadline article. We just didn't want to throw him in a leather outfit and killing vampires. Why the hell not, Kevin? It's just that simple. You guys are making it so much more difficult than it has to be. But anyway, I think this was rumored years ago that there was a version where it took place in the past. Even recently, the set producers or the costume designers from Sinners said that they just used all the costumes from the Blade set, which again confirms that it took place in the past. And then there was rumors, obviously, that there was the Mia Goth of it all, who's going to be the villain. Aaron Pierre was going to be a villain at one point. Delroy Lindo was involved. So this has seen many different versions, but it sounds like we're getting closer to a actual version coming to fruition. It's going to take place in modern day, and maybe there'll be some Midnight Suns, maybe Kit Harington will be involved, but nonetheless, this is exciting news. They finally know what they want to do with Blade. Now, before we wrap up, we also have Kevin Feige going a little bit into detail on what went wrong or why it's taking so long to get Blade up and going. You can start and have a good script and make it a great script through production, but we didn't feel confident we could do that with Blade. We didn't want to do that to Mahershala. Excuses. They literally went into production with Avengers Doomsday without a complete script, and that's the Avengers. So listen, if they want to say we want to make sure everything is perfect, we got a perfect script, we don't want to just write scripts on set for Mahershala's sake. Sure, Kevin, if that's what you want us to believe, you want it to be perfect, I'll believe you for now. And another one, as I was just about to start editing this video, we got more things from Kevin Feige. As he says, Jake Schreier from Thunderbolts has officially signed on to direct X-Men. It's starting now, as well as the script is underway. Look, I like Jake. I like what he did with Beef. I like what he did with Thunderbolts. I'm not all the way confident with his abilities of directing the first time we're going to see mutants in a X-Men film in the MCU, but I'm hopeful because he does have a focus. He has a vision, so we'll see. I'm not too confident with the writer or the director, but I'm hopeful that this will be a great film. Speaking of the X-Men, Kevin Feige has teased future plans for both Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. As he says, I think there is more fun to be had with both of these characters, he said, but we'll see where. I'm assuming this is Avengers Doomsday. I'm assuming this is Secret Wars. Or maybe they'll have like another solo adventure with them going on another road trip. Are you all excited to see more of Deadpool and Wolverine in the future? All right, and last but not least, huge news here. Kevin Feige talks about Marvel Studios' plans on recasting major MCU characters like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. Before I move on, what about Black Panther? Will we ever see T'Challa again? I want to know that, Kevin Feige. But the rest of the article says Amy Pascal and David Heyman are now searching for a new James Bond, directed by my favorite director, Denis Villeneuve. But he talks about David Cornsweet, the new Superman. He's awesome. That will always be the case. So he talked about earlier, this feels like 30 minutes ago, about the rebooting of the MCU. So it is nice to know that they will bring these legacy characters with new actors. So they're not going to just in their legacy a la Black Panther. So that's interesting. We're going to eventually get another Tony Stark. We're going to get another Steve Rogers, hopefully another Black Panther in the rebooted version of all the characters, Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men in the MCU. I'm assuming this goes into that 7-year plan that we talked about. So we just discussed a lot. What do you all think? From the quality over quantity, he only has 2 years left. Punisher, Miles Morales, Blade, recasting. Let me know your thoughts about it all in the comments below, and subscribe and follow for more.